Chapter 9 is yet another route map, and is eerily vacant, even by normal mode standards. The central choke point leading to the boss room is barely guarded, and there are just a few spare enemies in the corners that quickly converge in the center. Unlike last chapter, most dragon veins from here on out don't impact the terrain, so we'll mostly be ignoring them, focusing all of our player phase actions on maximizing movement for Saizo and combat for everyone else. As always, rushing to the faraway boss is the top priority, but we can take the rest of the map to distribute experience as we see fit. While there aren't many enemies directly blocking our path to the boss, the layout makes our positioning a bit cramped for what I have in mind. In the past, just singing our boss killer turn 1 was enough to get them to the boss as soon as possible, but with bosses starting to get further away and Shelter now in play, there's a lot more to consider. The goal for turn 1 is to get Saizo to defeat a knight at the central choke point, clearing a shorter path, while also having another unit tail behind him. This way, Azura can pair up with them and sing for Saizo yet again turn 2. Conveniently, the high move Shelter users are always targets for Shelter singing, so even with our awkward starting position, we're able to get both Saizo and Jakob near the center of the map turn 1. Saizo can one-round everything in the north, and Jakob will be around to clean up the center, so we have pretty much our entire army available to fight the enemies in the south. Just killing these enemies within a few turns is hardly a challenge, but we can take this opportunity to funnel experience into our level 10 targets. Corrin wants to reach level 10 by chapter 12, and Rinkah wants it not long after. By maximizing dual strikes and kill opportunities, we can get both of them a lot of experience, especially considering normal mode's higher experience gain. This setup of rushing Saizo to the boss while everyone teams up to carefully distribute kills in the starting area will be consistent for several chapters to come. I've also set up the southern group turn 1 to let the Outlaw and Cavalier team up for a kill on Azura. I was unable to manually unpair her after last turn's Shelter singing, but Phoenix mode does this for us. The game always tries to revive units on the tile they were defeated, but if that tile is occupied, then it chooses an adjacent tile, with a consistent priority. Because of this, we can leave Corrin to fight in the south, while still getting Azura paired up with Jakob, so Saizo can then reach the boss room turn 2. The knight at the choke point is both immobile and paired up, so we need to kill them on player phase, letting us kill the outlaw on enemy phase, which then opens up room to approach Zola turn 3. Turn 2, I branch out the southern group a bit, with Hinoka and Silas teaming up against the Cavaliers approaching from the east. They don't need to reach level 10 quite so early, but since we need to use their high movement to ferry units across maps most of the time, I'll take any opportunity for them to get kills that I get. As for Corrin and Rinkah, a big contributor towards their experience actually comes from our diviners, Orochi and the newly recruited Hayato. Magic lets them deal enough chip damage to set up kills, and their 1-2 range lets us set up several dual strikes for Rinkah in the process. As a long-term combat unit, Hayato typically has a lot of potential, but an LTC setting is far too fast for him. We really only have room for one diviner that sets up kills and dual strikes going forward, and Orochi beats out Hayato mostly for having higher hit rates, with Hayato's personal skill letting them effectively deal about the same damage. Now, something I do need to address is Saizo's combat this chapter. He's by far our best option for a combat lead, with Ninja's +1 move on pair-up being critical for reaching the boss room by turn 2, and his combat being far better than our other units with 1-2 range. However, his average stats at level 9 are just barely not enough to one-round both knights and outlaws. With the Steel Shuriken and Strength Tonic, he falls 1 strength short of one-rounding the knights. You could make a strength meal to make up the difference, but he's also 1 speed short of doubling the outlaws, thanks to the Steel Shuriken's attack speed penalty. We can only make meals that boost 1 set at a time at this point in the game, so we'll just have to make the speed meal and bend one of our rules to work out the strength. Our options are 1. Rig a crit against the first knight and strength level up before we fight the second knight. 2. Get a lucky effect from the mess hall that boosts a random stat and have that random stat be strength. Or 3. Stray from average stats and assume Saizo gets 2 out of 2 strength levels last chapter. None of these are strictly banned from my rule set, and I ultimately decided to go with the latter, setting Saizo's strength to be 1 higher than average. A bit unfortunate, but this will be the one time in the playthrough that will deviate from averages. Turn 3, the allied units Hinata and Oboro show up. We don't have time to recruit them with Corrin, but they'll join at the end of the chapter regardless. They both have positional skills in their toolset, with Oboro joining with Swap and Hinata having the potential for Shove after a reclass. They're not as useful as you'd expect for most chapters, but they will be key to our movement in a handful of clears to come. Setting up for the final enemy phase, Azura switches to Jakob, who one-rounds both the remaining Knight and Cavalier thanks to elbow room and the speed from Azura. As for Zola, we need to avoid getting him below half health before he acts, or else he'll get healing AI and just wait on his throne. This doesn't sound great for a 2-round, but the defense debuff from shurikens lets us work around this, and our newly learned Poison Strike effectively cancels out the healing he gets from the throne. The Steel Shuriken is too strong, but switching to the Iron Shuriken and getting 1 point of strength during the chapter gives him just the right amount of damage. And that's chapter 9 completed in 3 turns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.